Hello, I'm Tylah Tully, and today I'm joined by ClearVue Technologies CEO Doug Hunt, who's here to talk us through the company's latest MOU with LandGlass. Doug, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for inviting me.
So before we get into it, what makes this new solar vacuum insulated glass range different from current products on the market?
Well, the best way to make a net zero building, or the best way to reduce carbon emissions from building, is of course not only to generate the power but also to reduce the building's demand. And vacuum insulating glass has a very low U value, or in other words, it has a very good ability to insulate. If we were to compare a piece of vacuum glass that was 8.83 thick, that has the same insulation factor as a 1.5 metre thick brick wall. It's crazy that something so thin can do that, but this is really the fundamental advantage of vacuum glass. And that means that we need to have less energy driving our air conditioning, and when it's combined with our product, because we make solar energy, also improves the second factor in building, which is solar heat gains. In other words, when the sun is hitting the building, how much heat is being transmitted through the glass. And so typically ClearVue products reduce that solar heat gain percentage by about 8%. And without affecting how clear the glass is, which is really important. So the combination of the two products will give you energy generation, it will give you a lower solar heat gain effect, and it will give you a wonderful U value. And that means that the building will demand far less energy, and that the actual window will contribute to the building's power demand.
So getting into this MOU with LandGlass, who are they and what do they bring to the table?
LandGlass are the world's premier manufacturer of vacuum glass. So they have a 200,000 square metre production facility. They have a 20,000 square metre R&D centre with 600 staff. And their product is, they're the only vacuum glass manufacturer that can make very large sizes, like 3 by 4 metre. And they are the leader in this tech. And when we first met LandGlass, the problem we were trying to solve was the double glazed spandrel glass. So the spandrel area is the floor that we're standing on right now in the building. On the front of the building, the piece that covers the concrete. And so because the concrete doesn't care if it's got a view, we can make that produce a lot of energy. And the key part is vacuum glass, because basically in a normal glass you have like a laminate or a PVB. And in vacuum glass, instead of the laminate, you have a vacuum gap. So the reason it's so insulative is because the heat just doesn't transmit through that. So if we were doing a triple glazed unit, we'd be talking about a 50 millimetre plus piece of glass, and we would be talking about a U value of about 1. In vacuum glass, a normal double glazed unit is about 1.5. And in vacuum glass, we can be at numbers like 0.6. So this is a massive difference to how much energy the building will use.
So how does this partnership fit into what ClearVue is already doing and aiming for?
We've probably got two major objectives of the company. First one is, of course, building is architecture. And so we have to be able to make BIPV disappear in a building. We have to be able to provide the same colours and textures that you would normally see on a building you're driving past. We have to be able to make that building look the same but make solar power, and to pass all the engineering and fire and all the other things that you need to be a building material. Secondly, what we want to do is to be able to, other than generate the energy, the best form of energy is the energy we don't have to use. And so we were already, and still going to anyway, look at different methodologies to improve the insulating factor of our products. So this joint venture with LandVac is pivotal, because what we will be able to do is to combine the strengths of our own engineering team as well as theirs, and we'll be able to develop very quickly. And some of the major things that we have to solve, like, for example, all of ClearVue's products now work with normal frames. And that's because we developed a specific technology to be able to pierce the seal of an insulated glass unit without compromising it with wires. Yeah. So this means that for vacuum glass, of course, because it's a vacuum gap, the glass can't be penetrated. You can't put a hole, or you can't do anything like that to get the cable out. So our technology was particularly suited to this type of research and development. And I think LandGlass is such a famous business in the glass industry that the fact that they have chosen to make an exclusive product partnership with us is is a real validation of the work that we have done in terms of developing systems and engineering to be able to deploy these panels on buildings.
And you also recently stepped up into the role as CEO. What's your focus at ClearVue moving forward?
We have a large number of products which we'll announce over the next 6 months. Some of these products will be quite game changing, and in fact some will be world firsts. And I think my focus is going to be to deliver those. Or the other thing I've got to focus on is we of course are a technology company, and we're on the sort of cusp of commercialisation. And what I see now is our inquiry levels are improving. We have number of proposals per week is much higher than it used to be. And my role, I think, is to make sure that we can commercialise. Typically speaking, if we're doing a solar facade on a building, our installed payback is under 5 years, and most projects it's under 4. And I think this is industry leading. And we've done that by we don't have an investment in. We haven't spent $500 million on a factory. What we have done is adopt the model the same as Apple. So I negotiated a lot of OEM agreements with suppliers who are already at scale. So we design the iPhone, the supplier makes the iPhone, but because their factory is at scale, we can keep the cost down. Because at the end of the day, everybody wants to be green, but there has to be a commercial justification for being green. And I think that the pathway that we're going to follow, and certainly the pathway we're going to follow with R&D and LandVac, the founder of LandVac and I, we had discussion over maybe a 6-month period, and the directions that we both want to take the company, our respective companies, in terms of affecting the energy that's used by the built environment, we were in complete alignment. And so I think, I'm so pleased that they selected us as a partner, because a company with that reputation and to be able to work with people like that is just going to be game changing for us.
Doug, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
For more ASX news and analysis, subscribe below.